Hello, it's Todd Witt with Synergy Home Performance. Today we're here to discuss how to avoid health and safety issues with a wood-burning fireplace in an energy-efficient house. We have spray foamed these rafters, the walls, and we're coming back to encapsulate the crawl space. We're going to make sure that we have this wood-burning fireplace drafting properly. What is a masonry fireplace? A masonry fireplace is a fireplace that's constructed on site using non-combustible materials like rock, concrete, brick, and it's built by a mason. That's one option. The other option of a wood-burning fireplace is a prefabricated metal fireplace that you buy. We can show you pictures of that later. This unit is a cross between the two. It's an isokern or a fire rock system, one or the other. They're both two brands that build these, but you have a kit that's part masonry, and then it transitions into a prefab pipe that takes it out. By having a prefabricated masonry kit, such as fire rock or isokern, it allows us to eliminate any problems from building it on site from scratch. I grew up in a house with a masonry fireplace. The house is probably about 50 years old and it was pretty leaky. It wasn't insulated very well, but why we didn't have problems back then is that all these leaks allowed the fireplace to draw an exhaust. In new energy efficient houses, we've made them very tight and we've cut out that leakage that allows the fireplace to draft. So that's why they become big problems now. This masonry fireplace is built into a room with a huge vaulted ceiling. And then on the outside of the house, we have sufficient height in our chimney. But let's look at some of the other issues that are going to affect the drafting of this fireplace. This is the return duct. And we talk about return ducts a lot in our video, but what this is all the air that is pumped in, the cold or warm air that's pumped into the house, it gets brought back to the unit to be reconditioned. And that's essentially what the return duct is doing. But all day long as the unit is running, it's pulling air back out of the house. If we build this return near a wood-burning fireplace, you can see that we have a competition where we're trying to feed air into that unit to allow it to exhaust properly. This return actually works to suck fumes back down the chimney. Let's imagine it's wintertime and we've started a fireplace in here. It's a cold day outside, but let's imagine we're this smoke molecule. As the smoke comes off the fireplace, we got to think, is it easier for that molecule to push up through the cold air in this chimney, or is it easier for it to be pulled out into this room? And it's being pulled by this return and the kitchen exhaust and other pressure issues inside the house. And that's my theory, is that a lot of times in the wintertime, we have a lot of people that think they're suffering from the flu, but they're actually suffering from low levels of carbon monoxide poisoning. One of the things we try to do, or that we recommend, is a carbon monoxide monitor anytime you have wood burning or gas burning going on in your house. And as opposed to a detector that only goes off after long periods of high carbon monoxide, this unit gives you a readout as you get it. So anytime you have a combustion product in your house, make sure you have a carbon monoxide monitor. If you've ever had your heat turn on, and as soon as your heat turns on, you smell wood burning, that's showing you that as the return pulls air, it's actually pulling it back down your chimney, and that's a deadly situation. So there's multiple steps that we attack this problem with. The very first step is that we put a fresh air vent to the outside. Eventually, this unit will go through the unit outside where it's able to bring fresh air when this thing draws. Now, this is not going to provide all the makeup air that's required, but as we will show you in our illustration, it's similar to putting a hole in a siphon or a straw. and this decouples this fireplace from this room. When this job is finished, this unit will have a sliding vent cover that is able to open up when we need fresh air. The other thing we want to do to this house is on the air conditioning system, we're going to put a fresh air vent to the outside of the house or an energy recovery ventilator so that when the house air conditioning system needs excess air, it's going to be able to pull it from outside. One of the problems here in Huntsville is that we're using exhaust-only ventilation, and that means that you're turning on a bathroom fan or a kitchen fan, and you're constantly pulling air from where you don't want it. That's putting your house under negative pressure. At Synergy, our belief is to either use a balanced ventilation approach with an energy recovery ventilator, or at worst case, we put a fresh air set or fresh air on the HVAC unit, and by being able to pull air constantly, we're putting the house under positive pressure. So if we're constantly feeding air from outside into the HVAC system, we're constantly giving combustion air to the fireplace as well as the cooktop. This is where the induction cooktop is going. It's a cool thing that the induction cooktop is being used because we don't have gas combustion issues in the house. But this is the gas cooktop exhaust, and that's the exhaust outlet. The new code calls for any time we're exhausting more than 400 cubic feet a minute out of the house that we have to put a fresh air on the cooktop itself. It will not work doing it from the air conditioning system. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a fresh air kit that when this exhaust turns on, it actually pulls air from outside to keep from stealing air back down the chimney or from other areas of the house. We have multiple returns located throughout this house. In most houses, they only have returns in the central portion of the house. So when we're feeding air into the bedrooms, we don't have a return passageway to get back. That creates pressure imbalances inside the house, and it makes the returns really work hard to get that air that it can't get back from the bedrooms. And when it does that, it will pull air back down the chimney. So you can see real quick how we fight this problem. First of all, if we have the choice, we don't put wood burning fireplaces in energy efficient houses. That's the easiest thing, but we know that's not going to happen. So when it does happen, we put a fresh air kit on the fireplace. We put a fresh air kit on the air conditioning system. We put a fresh air kit on the kitchen cooktop, and then we make sure we have returns and proper balancing on the entire air conditioning system itself. When you install a wood burning fireplace in an energy efficient house, you can see all the steps we take to properly integrate that into the house. There's a few other issues that cause major problems. If you see a Duramade or Enviromade or whatever these ceramic waxy logs are that you buy in the grocery store, never burn those, because when that gets pulled back, the exhaust gases off of it, it's a petroleum product that will actually get on your walls and get throughout your house. Same thing, candles in a jar. I strongly recommend against them. And any kind of soft wood, make sure your wood is dry and that it's a hard wood. When you have a soft, wet wood, that puts a lot of excess particulates out into the house. You can see where we've core drilled this fresh air supply for the masonry fireplace. That's exactly what it looks like. We have used Chapter 10 out of the 2015 International Residential Code. Fresh air makeup is required. We can walk you through all the different steps. But if you take a look at this chimney, when you're building a wood burning chimney, the higher the better. And with the code requirements on a wood burning fireplace, we're dealing with what they call the 3-2-10 rule. This chimney needs to be 3 feet above this low point here, and then it needs to be 2 feet above anything within 10 feet horizontally of it. And a lot of times those code requirements aren't met and your chimney doesn't draw correctly. So the higher the better. Thanks for watching our video. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and our website at WeTestOthersGuests.com.